Well, here we go. Another challenge lays in front of the Winnipeg Jets tonight. They're 7-0-1 coming off a regulation loss this season. Now that record will get tested yet again as they face off with the Montreal Canadiens tonight inside Bell MTS Place. It's Winnipeg's last home game inside this building until March 31st as they head out on a 7-game road trip immediately after this, and they'll want to go into that on a winning note. Welcome to the JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. I'm Mitchell Clinton, and happy St. Patrick's Day, of course. We've got to make sure we fit that in. It's a packed show tonight, as it always is. Of course, we have Paul Edmonds from 680 CJOB. He'll stop by to talk a little bit about Neil Pionk. It's his 100th game as a member of the Winnipeg Jets tonight. We have information on the Winnipeg Jets food drive and a feature on Reese Kettler, a local junior hockey player who obviously suffered an injury in December of 2019, a severe spinal injury, and the family graciously allowed JetsTV into their home safely, of course, to get an update on him, and it's a video you're not going to want to miss. That's coming up a little bit later on in the show. But first, it's time to check in. Check in to win delivered by Skip the Dishes. To participate, all you have to do is download or open the Winnipeg Jets app, and you can play interactive games like Jets IQ Trivia for a chance to win an Aviator jersey and the Over-Under Challenge, where you could walk away with a $50 Jets Gear gift card. Plus, just for checking in, you're automatically entered for a chance to win a $100 Skip gift card. So let's slide right into the matchup board to see how these two teams compare. The Jets had won the first 3 against Montreal, but now the Canadiens have won 2 straight over the Jets. They're actually the first team to be able to do that this year, beat the Jets consecutive times. You can see the penalty kill stats. Montreal's took a little bit of a beating after the Jets scored twice on the power play in Monday's game. And because they did that, the Jets have now scored a couple of goals on the power play in consecutive games, and their power play has caught some fire. It's now 7th best in the National Hockey League, and you see the head-to-head matchups, 3-2 in favor of the Winnipeg Jets, 2-1-2 for the Montreal Canadiens. No changes expected to the Jets' lines tonight as we look at the projected lineup. This group outshot the Canadiens, a team that ranks 3rd in the National Hockey League in shots on goal per game. It was 36-31 in favor of the Jets on Monday. The focus is more traffic in front and watch the turnovers. The Jets did a number of good things, but were undone really by 3 turnovers, and that led to the 3 goals that the Canadiens scored before the Jets pulled their goaltender to try to tie the game late in the 3rd period. So this group as a whole will want to clean that up. Also of note, you see Anton Forsberg's name's not down in those scratches. He was claimed today by the Ottawa Senators, so he's no longer with the Jets organization. And another move today, the Jets also reassigned Eric Comrie and Ville Heinola from the Manitoba Moose to the taxi squad, so something to keep an eye on in the coming days. Moving on to our season seat holder of the game at home, that is Sean Klippenstein. So big congratulations to him. He's been a season seat holder since 2011, so we thank him for that. Charles received an autographed 10-year anniversary Blake Wheeler Jets jersey, so congratulations and thank you on behalf of the Winnipeg Jets. All right, we've talked lineup, we've talked who's in, who's out, we've seen the stats, we've seen how it all breaks down. Let's go up to 680 CJOB's Paul Edmonds for even more analysis. Heading way up top to the broadcast booth, Paul Edmonds of 680 CJOB joining us. And Paul, when you mentioned this stat to me, I was surprised. It's Neil Pionk's 100th game with the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, all he's done off the ice is earn himself a university degree in that span of time. But how valuable is he to the team on the ice?
Well, I think when we say 100 games, it's almost because he's been so impactful in the 2 seasons or season and a half that he's played with the Winnipeg Jets and coming over in that deal with Jacob Trouba a couple of summers ago, that you think he's been here longer than 100 games. And the way he's played, you think that he's more of a seasoned veteran beyond the 200 games that he's played in the National Hockey League overall. And tonight is game number 100 with the Jets and 201 overall. But this has been a real good deal for the Winnipeg Jets, not to mention that Ville Heinola was the draft pick that they got for Jacob Trouba that also came back from the New York Rangers. So we could see at some point Neil Pionk and Ville Heinola playing together. Wouldn't that be interesting? But he has been a real good balance of being able to use his speed, his puck awareness, and his physicality for what you would call an undersized defenseman by NHL standards today. He's only 6 feet tall, about 185 pounds, but he leads the the team with 82 hits. And he did last year as well. He blocks shots. He moves the puck. He's also, by the way, leading all the defensemen on the team in scoring. And he's only 4 points back of Victor Hedman, who leads the entire National Hockey League in scoring. So there could be an opportunity. I know Dustin Byfuglien kind of flirted with that over a couple of years. There could be an opportunity for a Jets defenseman to be up in the top 2, 3. He's already top 5, but maybe get a little higher in leading the NHL in points by defensemen. So he is the entire package. I asked Paul Maurice about him today, Mitch, and he's just so elated with what they've gotten in this return and the player that they have received. I think he's surprised people. We started to see that last year. No surprise in the way he's playing this year. But Neil Pionk is very valuable to the Winnipeg Jets. I would argue that he could be unarguably the best defenseman on the Winnipeg Jets for the last 2 years running. He's that consistent. He's that balanced in his game. The only question now is how long-term will he stay? He's in a situation where it's an expiring contract. He is a restricted free agent at the end of this season. And, of course, the Jets do control his rights for one more contract. I would expect that Neil will be a priority to get signed long-term. That will be the overture made. He'll make decisions from there, but I would imagine also that he would command somewhere to the $5 or $6 million range per annum on that salary. So, a priority, certainly a must-have, if you will, on the blue line for the Winnipeg Jets, but he is a super value to the Winnipeg Jets on the back end for sure, not only this year, but going back to last year, and a guy that I think that just plays so well in all the facets of the game, defending and putting points up from the blue line.
Very well said. And anytime that the Winnipeg Jets suffer a regulation loss like they did on Monday, the first thing that always pops into my mind is, well, they're 7-0-1 after a regulation loss this season. Can they do it again?
Well, I think so, because honestly, a decent game on Monday by the Jets overall was veiled by the fact that they didn't kind of protect the puck on a few occasions. And those are some mistakes by a couple of players, Neil Pionk being one, Andrew Kopp being another, that you don't see very often from those players. They're usually very good, very defensive, responsible players when it comes to protecting the puck inside their own zone. They didn't on those 2 occasions, and they ended up, unfortunately for the Jets, in the back of the net. I think that that's part of the mental fatigue in coming back off the road. No excuse. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets outshot Montreal, certainly had some chances, scored a couple of power play goals, and you ran into a top goaltender for sure that seems to have found his mojo in Carey Price as well, but the Jets did not play well. This isn't a huge bounce back from, say, a 7-1 defeat like you had against Montreal a week and a half ago. So, yeah, the possibility does exist for them to go 8-0-1 or 7-0-2 in this fashion tonight to bounce back and get some points after a regulation loss. But I don't think that you're looking for them to change a lot in their game tonight over what we saw in the opener of this short 2-game series with Montreal and this small homestand for the Jets against the Canadiens from one night to the next.
Jets won the first 3 meetings of the season against the Canadiens, but the last 2 obviously haven't gone so well for the Winnipeg Jets. It's almost like Montreal, their style of play is the kryptonite. Is there a solution?
Well, there needs to be an elixir, and I think certainly the Winnipeg Jets have to match the speed of the Montreal Canadiens, and that is a possibility. I think Montreal has always had a great reputation, even going back a few years, Mitchell, to being a team that transitions very well. So again, we come back and we harken back to protecting the puck. Protect the puck, get it in deep if there's nothing there between the blue lines. Get over center, get it in deep. Try to keep it away from Carey Price. He handles the puck so well. So the old third defenseman line, if you put it in on him, he's going to outlet it, and then they're out of their own zone in that transition fashion. If you don't get it in deep and turn it over at their blue line or somewhere between the 2 blue lines, back the other way they go, and it's usually an odd man situation. So number one, you have to come out of your own zone with speed. Montreal is going to try to prevent that, so maybe you see a little bit more indirect off the boards and some passing for the Winnipeg Jets to kind of get past that first layer of defense that's up toward the blue line for Montreal. Beyond that, take what they give you and don't try to force things. And then also at the same time, you have to be cognizant about what's behind you. We saw a couple of pickpocket opportunities that Montreal exacted on the Jets a couple of nights ago in that first game of the series. You have to be aware of what's going on around you, even behind you on the backtrack, because Montreal does skate. They skate very well. You need to match that, but you also need to get the puck in deep, keep it away from Carey Price, and then grind it out in the corners and along the wall. You do that tonight, and it sounds like we're detailing a laundry list of things that you have to do, but these are things that Winnipeg's become adept at doing and changing and having a little bit of volatility, in their game from game to game because they have to on what the opposition's throwing at them, but they need to play their game. If they get back to a little bit of speed, things will just kind of unfold kind of naturally for them in this situation against Montreal, who has beaten them twice, and Winnipeg needs an answer in the last home game for Winnipeg against Montreal here this season. The final 3 of them will be on the road in April in La Belle Province.
And the last home game in a 14-game stretch for the Winnipeg Jets as well. Paul Edmonds, thanks for this.
Always my pleasure.
Paul Edmonds, always a great guest on the JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. You can hear him and Jamie Thomas call the game on 680 CJOB every single Jets game day. Another thing you can do is check out the Winnipeg Jets food drive. Did you know that a $10 donation donates 3 meals for those in need? Now is the time to donate to the Winnipeg Jets food drive powered by Skip the Dishes. All donations go to Harvest Manitoba to help feed hungry in our province. Donate at winnipegjets.com/food drive. Plus, you'll also have the opportunity to donate at a special drop-off event at Bell MTS Iceplex from 10 until 2 on March 27th. There will be great prizes for those who donate at the event. Again, visit winnipegjets.com/food drive for all the details. Now, December 19th, 2019 is a date that Reese Kettler and his family won't soon forget. He was playing in a Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League game with the St. Vital Victorias when he suffered a severe spinal cord injury during the game. He went for emergency surgery and a doctor told him he would never walk again. Obviously, tough news to receive at that age, both for him and the family. The hockey community rallied around Kettler, though, and he's now 21 and has maintained a positive attitude as he continues his workouts and his therapy. The family graciously allowed JetsTV into their lives and into their home for an update on Kettler. And as you'll see in this piece, he continues to be an inspiration to everyone around him.
Like the first thing they tell you, you're never going to walk, you're never going to do this, you're never going to do that. And it's one of those things that kind of sticks with you. But I mean, after a little while, you kind of get like under control of what your mind's thinking. You just like go out there and really just show them, really give it all you have, and like spend a lot of time in the gym and keep working at it, you know.
He's a determined, stubborn kid, and all you have to do is tell him you can't do something and he'll do it.
Reese's team, there were so many things that were taken care of behind the scenes that we weren't even aware of. Everything from parking was taken care of at the hospital. Our driveway was shoveled. There was food in the freezer so that we could bring food along with us to the hospital. So, and that was very local, but there was globally too when we got words of encouragement through the GoFundMe page. It was from teams, from individuals, from hockey moms and dads.
I never would have expected the amount of outreach I got from the hockey community. I had thousands of messages on my phone, everyone concerned, and then the Jets, like everyone contacted me, and they've been so supportive, and I can't thank the hockey community enough. I remember sitting in the hospital bed wondering if I was ever going to be able to drive again, like a couple days after the accident. And a year and 2 months later, I'm back driving again. Like I can drive anywhere I want by myself, bringing my chair with me. So it's just one hand for gas and brake, and then one hand for steering wheel, basically.
His number one goal was, I'm going to work hard to get out of the hospital. And then the next step was, now I'm going to work hard to gain my mass and my weight back that I had before, because he lost a lot of weight when he was in the hospital.
When Reese was in the hospital, his older brother Mitch was awesome.
Us, it was often, okay, make sure you take your meds, make sure we're being parents. And the brothers, we'd often walk in the room and they're together looking at one of their laptops and they're laughing like brothers do, watching stupid YouTube videos. That was super special for April and I to see, that we could just see them being normal, and that really brought Reese to a normal level experience.
They're the most supportive people ever. They've done so much for me, especially when I came home. I came home 2 months early. I shouldn't have came home that early, and they made the house ready and did everything they could so I could come home.
With her medical background and her physiotherapy background, it's been a godsend for us and for Reese. Sometimes I'll bring myself back and I'll look, oh yeah, he could hardly balance there, or he could hardly achieve that function, and now it's easy.
My parents have done so much for me, and especially just keep me motivated and keep me pushing and keep tackling those goals I set out for myself from the beginning.
That story went out on social media and on JetsTV at winnipegjets.com at around 3 p.m. Central Time, and I've been kind of checking in randomly just to kind of see the comments on it, and you see comments from people who don't know Reese and people who do, and just talking about how inspirational he is. And there was one person, and I don't remember the Twitter handle, so I apologize, but it was someone that was at HSC around the same time as Reese was, and he said he always had a smile on his face, and as you can see in that video, that certainly hasn't changed. So all the best to him and his family going forward. Episode 98 of the Ground Control podcast dropped a little earlier this week, and Sarah Orleski, who is sitting about 25 feet to my right, getting ready for a broadcast on TSN tonight, is the feature interview. She chats with us about a number of topics, including International Women's Day, broadcasts in an empty building, and so much more. So get that podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And Jets fans, now is the time to buy your tickets for the Winnipeg Jets 50-50 presented by PlayNow.com. For St. Patrick's Day, the pot was sweetened and started at $20,000. The current pot now sits at over $109,000. So buy your 50-50 tickets online before the end of the third period of today's game to be included in the draw. The winner takes home half the jackpot, with all proceeds in support of the True North Youth Foundation. Buy your 50-50 tickets now at winnipegjets.com/5050. And Jets fans, tonight's save of the game, men's and women's Heritage Excursion fleece jackets are just $39.99 each, a $40 savings. These soft fleece full zip jackets are available online at truenorthshop.com. That's $40 off excursion fleece jackets. Jets gear, shop where the players shop. Thanks for joining us in this edition of the JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. A big thank you to Daniel Moss, who not only makes this whole thing look good, but he was also the man behind the edit of that Kettler piece that you can once again see on winnipegjets.com and our social media channels. Also a thank you to Paul Edmonds for joining, Tyler Esquivel, John Delaney for a lot of their work behind the scenes, Caleb Snyder is over here as well, and Colin Peterson for helping out as well on an off night for the Manitoba Moose. We'll see you after the game for the JetsTV Live post-game show presented by Budweiser. Until then, enjoy the game.